Hello, hello. Travel with Eva here, and you are experiencing Travel Talk. And today I have a special guest who I'll introduce in a moment. But in case you don't know a little bit about me, let me tell you a little bit about me. Again, my name is Eva Jordan Johnson, and I am the owner of Jordan Travel Enterprise. We specialize in group travel events, and we help you to have group events that are easy, lucrative, and fun. We take the worry and the logistics of travel planning from you so that you can relax and enjoy your group adventure. And we specialize with working with uh, coaches, business leaders, and and families. Sometimes family reunions, girlfriend groups is some of the things that we do. We're also the authors of, and I say we, my husband and I are the authors of Hosting Group Events in Paradise, the ultimate guide for coaches, trainers, and business leaders. So, and I will be putting the link in for that. You can find that on Amazon and also at Hosting Group Events in Paradise. If you purchase the book, if you go onto the website, you can make a donation to Hope of Glory Ministries, which is a ministry in Methodistad, South Africa, that we volunteer with. And the cost of the book will be donated to the ministry. So, well, thank you so much for joining Travel Talk. And thank you so much to the replay viewers for checking us out. And I have the pleasure of introducing you to Nicole. And let me tell you a little bit about her. Nicole is a self-described experience junkie. She gets her fix by trying and exploring new and different foods and places. She shares the after effects of her experiences in insightful, witty, and sometimes funny commentary, and sometimes funny commentary on her blog. And her blog is Nicole Eats and Travel. Nicole is a travel, food, and experience blogger. And welcome, Nicole, to Travel Talk.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and share some of my experiences as an experience junkie.
All right. So tell me, what is an experience junkie?
All right. So it took me a little while to really get a good understanding of what that is, because it describes me. So I have come to understand that an experience junkie is a person who likes to see, do, touch, feel, taste everything around them. They just like to experience the community, the world, the flavors, the culture around them. So, for example, it's probably that friend or that family member who you take them anywhere and you can't get very far before they're like, ooh, I want to try that. Oh, what's that? I want to see what that is. Oh, that smells good. So that's me. Yes.
All right. So share some of the places that you've traveled to and why you selected those places.
Most definitely. So I've had the opportunity to travel to a number of places. I've been to Paris, I've done London, I've done Italy, Rome, Vienna, Germany. And I started out with Paris and London because that had always been my dream. You know, since I was a teenager, I wanted to go there. So that was my first place that I had the opportunity to go to. And from there, I think I let my experience junkie freak flag fly. I was just like, oh, that looks like a cool place to go. Why don't I try going there? I want to see the Colosseum. Let's go there. So that's how my list was built. My travel list is built.
Okay. Now, you've been to several places. What is your favorite trip? What's your favorite trip thus far?
Okay. So as an experience junkie, it's difficult for me to talk about favorites. I like to say most memorable because I think all of them have something that meant something to me. So my most memorable trip, I would have to say, was Paris, when I got the opportunity to go to Paris. And for obvious reasons, Paris is such a beautiful city. But Paris was memorable for me because it was a dream realized. And
Okay.
being able to go to Paris meant that actually being able to go to Paris was a show of my hard work and a show of my persistence. I kept that dream for a number of years going to Paris. And
Okay.
going to Paris, I had to get 2 jobs to work, to save money to go on that trip and to have a great time. So that was going to Paris was one of my most memorable trips. And I have to tell you, first we went to London and then we flew over to Paris. So as we entered Paris, we had these beautiful, what do you call them, flight attendants who woke us up because we had fallen asleep on the flight to Paris. And they had chocolate croissants. And I just remember tearing up. I was like, I made it. I made it to Paris. I'm here. So Paris is one of my most memorable trips.
Oh. And it's interesting that you said that it was a trip that you wanted to go, was a desire, and you prepared to go. So that's you prepared and even though it took a while, you said 2 years?
Well, the dream, it took a long time for me the dream to get realized. But actually, when I sat down and determined that I was going to go, it was about 5 months.
Okay. All right.
And that's when I contacted you. Okay. And you told me that I could realize that dream. So yes.
Okay. All right. So my next question to you is which you kind of answered. When you travel, do you use the services of a travel consultant?
I do. I most definitely do. And what's interesting, and I guess some of the viewers may understand this, I don't like to give my travel plans over to somebody and just let them plan out the whole thing. I like to do it together, because there are some experiences that I want to have and some that aren't that important to me. So working with a travel consultant, you have to know how you want that relationship to go. And working with you is really great because you always ask me, what's important to you, Nicole? What kinds of experiences do you want to have? So it can work either way. If you are a person who likes to give over your plans to someone, that can work too. But if you're like me and you like to have some control in it, it can work that way as well.
That's great advice. Great advice. Now, how can someone be a productive experience junkie?
Yes, I'm glad you said productive, because it's easy to be an experience junkie that gets nothing done. And by getting nothing done, that means they don't get to see, taste, do anything that really matters to them. So a couple of my steps are to really be intentional about the kind of trip that you want to have. And like we just talked about a little earlier, that starts with getting your planning together, really understanding what's important to you. And when I say what's important to you, what kind of experiences do you want to have? Because you don't want to go on a trip and do a whole bunch of stuff, experience a whole bunch of stuff, but come back and you're like, man, I did a lot of stuff, but I don't think that was really important to me, So I sit down and think about the kind of experience that I want to have. And I've learned over a couple of trips that there are certain experiences that are important to me. One is great food experiences. I want to have great food experiences where I go to great restaurants and I learn about the food there. The other thing is I want to have a great cultural experience. I want to learn about the people who live in those places and how they live and the history behind them. The other thing is I like localized experiences. Yes, we can do the touristy stuff on day one, but for the rest of the time, I want to be and do and go and see what people who have lived there for decades do go and see. One of my favorite things in Paris was going to a local grocery store and shopping with the locals. That was awesome. And in Rome, I got to go to a local bakery that had been owned for decades by family, which is passed down from family member to family member. So those are the experiences that are really important to me. And then from there, so for me, I like to insert a challenge experience in there, right? So something that...
Before you continue, I want to go back to one of the things you said.
Okay.
You said that you like a localized experience, and you mentioned that you went to a grocery store. Yeah. And if that may sound like, oh, you go to a grocery store, but it's amazing what you can experience in a local grocery store. The food that you get, like recently I was in Barbados, celebrating my anniversary, and I went to was, looking at the shops and stuff, but I went to the grocery store and I was able to even get gifts to bring back home from the grocery store. So one, you're getting something that's reasonably priced. It's not priced for the tourists. And you're experiencing the food and the places, and you're interacting with the people that you wouldn't if you stayed at your hotel and just did the tourist things and you didn't get out and experience. So that's a great tip. So
Yeah.
I'll let you continue. I just wanted to add that.
Oh, no problem. No problem. The other thing for me is adding in those challenging experiences. So although I put, kind of boundaries around my experiences and focus on those experiences that are important to me, I also realize that I need to get out of my comfort zone. So for me, one of those experiences that got me out of my comfort zone was going zip lining in Puerto Rico. So in this big rainforest, going high up into the rainforest and then zip lining. And I will admit, I did not want to do it. My mother forced me to do it, but I'm glad that she did. So that was a challenging experience that I got to take back with me and that I got to talk about. So
that's a good tip too, to kind of get out of your comfort zone. Yes. And really enjoy, and it could be as something as simple as we had the supermarket example, but also something as simple as in the place that you're at, you need to be safe, consider that, but you could take the local transportation. If there's a bus that goes into town and you can walk from wherever your accommodations are and get on the bus and take the bus. You're going to see things from a whole different perspective and interact with people from a whole different perspective. So that's a good tip too.
And I'm glad you mentioned the bus, the public transportation. And I know that I keep going back to Paris, but when we went to Paris, we did the challenging thing of getting on the metro. I think they call it the Metropolitan there. So no English, all French. So, but we got through it, and I always remember that we rode the Paris Metro. That's the only way that we got around while we were there, and that's a challenge that I was like, wow, good job, Nicole. No French at all, but we made it. Yeah. People were mad at us because we moved a little slow, but we made it.
Yeah. And it's always good too when you're in another country, like in Paris, for example. Before you go, learn a few of the key words that will help you. Of course, thank you, you're welcome. Learn some key words that will help you in terms of getting around and communicating.
And exit is a really good word to know in different languages. How to exit. So, yes.
All right. So we've gone through, I think, 2 or 3 tips. Do you have some more?
Yes, okay. I think we've done 3. So my last one is put in a few wonder days into your schedule. And by wonder days, I mean WANDER. So as an experience junkie, we don't like boundaries. Boundaries are not the funnest thing to put around the kind of experiences you have. But like we said earlier, it's a productive way to get the experiences that you want to get. So what I do is I pack my first 3 to 4 days with all those experiences that I want to have. I schedule those days. And then maybe on my last 1 or 2 days, I just allow myself to go free, to roam free, to just allow the city to pull and grab me any way it takes me. So that means just going down a street, and if I smell something good, I go in there and I grab lunch. If I see something that's cool, I go in and I see it, and I don't have any regrets because I've already gotten the experiences that I wanted to have. Now it's time to get those out of the blue experiences.
That's great advice. Great advice. Now, as I hear you say that, one thing that makes me cause a little, those wandering and all that's good. But also, when you're doing that, what kind of safety do you have a safety awareness? Have you kept, is that in your thinking? or in your planning when you plan your wander days?
Safety. Safety has not been as top of mind as it should be.
Okay.
But it should be. You know, that's so interesting. I don't really think about it. And I don't know why. I don't really think about safety, but I should, right?
Yes, you should. You should. And it's fine to wander, but for example, in New York City, there are great places to go and great experiences to have. But you have to be careful that you don't, if you're having a wander day, that you don't wander down, or you decide, oh, I'm going to just take the train and I'm going to get off this stop, and end up in a very not safe area. So that's just I'm always concerned about safety.
That's so funny that you use that example, because that's so me. Oh, let's just jump on the train. Let's get off here. Oh, this looks cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. I love the idea of having a wander day, but I also would want those who are listening and you to consider the safety aspect.
Most definitely. Thank you for that. I agree totally.
Okay, so we mentioned in the beginning your blog, NicoleEatsAndTravels.com. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your blog. What inspired you to have a blog, to write a blog, and what are some of the things that you share on your blog?
Most definitely. So Nicole Eats and Travels is a combination of two blogs that I started off with. I started off with AroundTheWorldGirl.com, and that's GURL.com. And then I started another blog that really focused on my eating, my love of food, which is NicoleEats.com. And so I didn't think that it was a good idea to have two separate blogs, two separate brands. So I combined those into NicoleEatsAndTravels.com. And what that blog does is it follows my food and travel adventures. And it doesn't only do it in this is what I ate, this is what I traveled, this is what I did. But sometimes I go a little deeper about those experiences, and I talk about how those experiences changed me and changed my thinking process, my thought process, which I think travel and experiences should always do. They should always leave something behind after you've experienced those things, whether it's new food or going to a different place. It should leave something behind on you that makes you think differently, or that makes you think a little deeper. So that's what my blog is about. So
share one of your recent episodes or your recent posts.
Sure. One of my recent posts, I had the opportunity to go to one of the local places here called Society Fair. It's this really, so funny that I'm mentioning this. It's this really cute Parisian cafe. I love everything French. It's this really cute Parisian cafe. We went there for brunch. And so when I was there, they had a whole bunch of stuff on the menu. And I'll say this as an aside. As an experience junkie, I hope viewers can relate to this. I have FOMO, fear of missing out, fear of doing something and then missing out on all the other stuff that I couldn't do because I was doing this. So, yes. So I went, and that happens with food all the time. So I went there for brunch, and on the menu they had what they called the classic, and it's a grilled cheese with tomato soup. I was like, for brunch, I don't know. But I was sitting next to a young lady who just raved about it. So I took the chance and I was like, hey, this may be a good experience. I haven't had a grilled cheese in years. Let me try this. So I ordered it, and complete FOMO started happening. I started seeing these really big breakfast biscuits that other people ordered. And I was like, man, I should have ordered that. Why did I get this other thing? So the grilled cheese comes with the soup, and it is amazing. It is so amazing. So I was happy to have that experience, to try something different, right?
Right.
And I will say that's the thing about being an experience junkie. You know that sometimes you lose and sometimes you win. and you're okay with that because it's about the experience.
Great, great. So can you share in the comment in the message box your blog post,
Sure.
your website?
Yep, I am writing it down now.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And if someone wants to get in touch with you via social media, what social medias are you active in or you participate in?
So I think I do my best work on Instagram. I have become that photograph professional, I think. You can find me at Nicole Eaton Travels on Instagram. And on Facebook is the same thing, Nicole Eaton Travels. And my YouTube series is at Nicole Eaton Travels. And on Twitter, you can find me at I Eat and Travel.
Okay. And while I'm sharing, you can put, since you're really on Instagram a lot, put your Instagram post in there. And I have a gift for you for the audience. It's some travel tips and information to get you ready for your next travel adventure. And you can find that at bit.ly/pre-travel checklist. That's bit.ly pre-travel checklist, where I share with you some travel tips and information to get you ready for your next trip, whether it's an international trip or domestic. And as I mentioned, I am a group travel specialist. And if you have a group, maybe you're thinking about a family reunion or a girlfriend group, or you have a business. We work with businesses also where they take their employees maybe for training or just as an incentive group. You can find us at bit.ly group travel events. That's bit.ly group travel events, where I have a travel questionnaire for you to complete and fill out. And then we offer you a complimentary consultation to see if we're a good match, and to see also to provide you with some information on things that would be helpful as you begin to consider doing your group travel event. So I'd like to close by saying thank you, Nicole, for joining Travel Talk. It's been a pleasure. You've given us some good tips. And I just kind of want to, let's, as a recap, hit us up with those 4 tips again.
All right.
As we close.
The 4 tips for being a productive travel experience junkie, is to be intentional about your travels, to know what experiences are important to you, to insert a challenge into your experience and a challenging experience, and also to add some wonder days into your planning so that you can just let it all go.
All right. I like that, wonder days. So again, thanks Nicole for joining Travel Talk, and check back with us for more travel talk and travel adventures and information. So bye for now, and thank you so much to the replay viewers, and I hope you enjoy our stay. And I'd like to always end with a word of encouragement to have a blessed day and take time to be a blessing to someone else. So bye for now.
Bye.